Like with Credible, we eliminate the pre-funding need by putting a credit pool and then enable a stablecoin based real-time payment mechanism and with a higher FX rate as well. I'm Shri. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Credible. I actually come in from a fintech background where I've worked like nearly 14 years, mainly, towards traditional finance. Prior to Credible, I had a healthcare financing company that got acquired in 2023. And before that, I did quite some consulting in the Web3 space, worked with few exchanges, worked with DeFi protocols, primarily in Singapore and Thailand, in the Southeast Asia region. And Credible came into mind like how we can, combine the TradFi experience and Web3, scalability and transparency. Essentially, what Credible does is we enable remittance rails from developed markets like US, Canada, Europe to developing markets like Nigeria, India, Philippines, and we do it a bit differently than what other platforms are doing. We are essentially having a credit pool in between that enables the real-time transfer experience. What it means is like, let's say you're an expat, an Indian expat working in US, you want to send money home. Now, the current options are like Wise or OFX or Remitly, these platforms. These platforms give you a real-time transfer experience, but they charge you, pretty heavy in terms of the transaction fee as well as the FX that they offer. Whereas with Credible, we give you like a better FX rate, even higher than what you see on Google or XC, and we also give you a real-time experience. Other platforms like, for example, Bridge or like Iron or other stablecoin remittance platforms, they always have to wait for the ACH transfer to hit the bank account in US, then do the on-ramp, and then do the off-ramp or the payout on the receiver side. This entire process usually takes 48 hours to 72 hours on other platforms because they wait for the ACH to get settled on the bank account. In case of Credible, with the credit pool mechanism, we don't have to wait for the ACH to settle. We underwrite the risk, assuming that the ACH will settle on the sender side, and we already do the payout on the receiver side, enabling a real-time experience. This is how the pre-funding or the Nostro Vostro setup works in the traditional finance, and that's what we are mimicking with Credible. And this we are doing for B2B as well as like personal remittances for neobanks. Yeah, so like I mentioned, there are so many remittance platforms. There are so many, like stablecoin based, payment infrastructures out there. But no one is coming close to the speed of traditional finance because traditional remittances work with a pre-funding mechanism. And none of these platforms which are out there, like Bridge or Iron or all these, they work with pre-funding mechanism. And like with Credible, we eliminate the pre-funding need by putting a credit pool and then enable a stablecoin based real-time payment mechanism and with a higher FX rate as well. So you get better rate, same speed, and also between the key corridors like US to India, US to Philippines, US to Nigeria, and so on. I'll tell you, like AI in general works with data sets, and what we do is, if you're, let's say working with one of our partner, like a new bank that is built on top of Credible, then we always check like what is the frequency at which you are sending money, what is your played, like banking reputation, what is your KYC based reputation, and also we have all that data set. And basic on the basis of that data set, we underwrite the risk of the ACH settlement of the money that you're sending home or making a B2B payment. And that AI-based risk modeling system ensures that we don't have defaults. Like we have been operating for over 11 months now. and we have done transaction volume of over $60 million, and we have had zero defaults so far. And that's purely because of the way we do the risk assessment with AI. The stablecoin liquidity basically sits on the credit pool, which acts as an ostro setup in traditional finance. And whenever there is a neobank, let's say in US, sending money to India, Philippines, or Nigeria, we use the capital in this credit pool to do the settlement on the receiver side. And then after 2 days or 3 days, we get the ACH settled and the USDC is refilled on the credit pool. So that's how we are using the credit pool mechanism for real world finance with stablecoins. Yeah, so I'll tell you, like, these numbers are old now. We have processed over $60 million in stablecoin credit. And we are like, one thing that we learned is initially we were too much, like dependent on like various agencies doing the credit assessment. We decided to move that credit assessment mechanism in-house with the AI-based, like model. And that's when things really started speeding up, and we moved away from, let's say, a 30-day or a 90-day credit line to a 3 days or 5 days credit line for payment financing. So that also helped us scale up the volume pretty quickly and minimize the risk. So the way I see this is like, from a challenging standpoint, it's more of a operations learning experience, that how it works and what is missing in the space. And it took us multiple iterations of PMF to actually get here, but we are glad that we are finally, like, we have a product market fit. We have clients who are using us. It's a B2B2C model, and that's how we want to continue as well. I mean, now we have over 370K, by the way, users, and the demand is purely because of the way we engaged on, like, key markets. Like, for example, a crypto credit card is still a dream in countries like India, Philippines, and Nigeria. And it's a very, let's say, it's a very mainstream thing in US and Europe because there's so many options there. But there is not even one option when it comes to Philippines, India, and Nigeria. And that's where we found the gap. And our entire objective is like, how do we dollarize the world? How do we, like, make US markets, US, like assets, US tools of finance accessible to all these developing markets? And that's where, that worked for us very well. Like, out of these 370K, over 150K users are actually from Nigeria, and that's one of our biggest market that we have seen. Yeah, so we have a MSB license in Canada. In India, we have more of a lending and a crypto exchange license. And in UAE, we don't have our own license, but we have partnered with, a licensed institution. Same thing in US. We recently partnered with another institution which can, do the on-ramping and everything. So I would say, like, the milestones initially, like, we spent quite some time, figuring out how to lay out the foundation, right? Like, how to get all these partners in place so that we can start operating. And it wasn't easy because we had to build a flow in which we do not touch the capital because we are not regulated, and we had to convince these regulated partners to believe in us, because we were, pretty much nothing, like almost a year back. And some of them believed, and having our own, like, MSB and having our own lending license and exchange license in India gave them the confidence that we can do the settlements in India. And because India is the number one inward remittance receiving country in the world, and it's completely untouched from stablecoin perspective. If you go to OpenFX, Bridge, any of these platforms, no one is doing India. So that, became our moat. And on top of it, having this credit facility, made it easier because then it becomes, like, it gave the volumes that were needed to all these regulatory partners as well. So yeah, so initially it was not straightforward to convince them, but over time, it helped as we brought in the volumes. I'll tell you, from the score point of view, we believe, I mean, as we will be launching a credit card as well, so we can do tiering based on the score. We will be, partnering with various deepen companies for offering like a BNPL facility as well. And these deepen companies really love that, like we bring in 400K users. We bring in, users who don't have to pay anything to get their product, but they still get paid. So it's pretty fascinating for them. And then we tier these users based on the credit score. On top of there can be some marketing, structure that we can build around the score. From other DeFi integrations, like the credit pool that we have, the idea is how we can, integrate it with more and more distribution partners who are aggregating the credit pools, who are bringing in more liquidity to us. Because right now our demand is, growing pretty rapidly, and we need to have more and more LPs, and we provide like 16% APY, which is fixed, and no one is doing that on stables. So we provide 16% on USDC, USDT, and that's something that we see as a great value as well. And from Web 2 product standpoint, like we technically are Web 2.5 platform. Like we are using DeFi only for the credit piece, and the risk modeling. But when it comes to the transactions, because of the regulated nature of the product, and since other fintechs are built on top of Credible, we have to give API-based access to them. We have to give them, abstracted experience to move money from fiat to crypto, crypto to fiat. So that's where, we are coming in from, and that's also where we implement Credible Score for any fraud detection, any like anomalies, AML, monitoring, all that purpose as well. I'll tell you, like KJ is really fun to work with. At least that has been my experience. He's so blunt and so straightforward, and that's good, like as a mentor to have someone like that. He helped us getting the right PMF mindset. I'm still, I mean, I'm trying to also build a credit trail between India and China, and that's also something that we are talking on the lines. Also, introduction to a few other angels, few other mentors and all, that happened through OnePiece Labs. Also, we got angel check from Michael. That happened because of OnePiece Labs guidance and all. So I think overall it has been really good, brutally good, right? So yeah, so we really recommend anyone else also to be part of the OnePiece Labs accelerator and learn from the mentors here. It's a completely unfiltered experience. I would say Zero G is the only chain which allows you to do direct integration with OpenAI's models. And there's no other chain that is available, in the market to do that. So the compute mechanism and the ability to deploy an LLM directly on chain makes Zero G one of a kind. And for our risk modeling purpose, we need to have data access for both off-chain and on-chain. And that's where Zero G's, compute helps us a lot. And like the entire architecture overall is really a good fit. My CTO can answer that better, but that's the main reason why we came to Zero G. And we can't wait for Zero G to go mainnet live so that we can migrate our entire model on chain. I'll tell you, like one of the biggest win for us, which is not announced yet, is that we have partnered with a US licensed MSB, and we will be able to now do like a direct on ramp in US. So we don't have to depend, on like a third party to wait for our clients to do on ramp and then we settle in India. So that end-to-end flow will enable us to work with a lot of other neobanks which are not already working with stablecoins. because then the stablecoin experience becomes abstracted for them. They just transfer USD to the FBO accounts, and we take it from there. So that's gonna be the biggest milestone achievement for us, and we should be live with this by end of next month. And after that, like I would say, enabling Canada to India market, because there are a lot of Indians living in Canada who do not have access to any stable coin based, remittances. And it's not just for fun, but if you see, for example, if you're sending a dollar from US to India, the FX rate that you get is 85 rupees or 86 rupees for a dollar. But if you send it to Credible, you get 90 rupees. So it's massive difference. And the same thing, like, we are also enabling importers who are importing from China to India. We are talking to a group called Trinity, which is based out of Shenzhen. And these guys are, they're a group of merchant, like a group of 5,000 merchants who are ready to enable BNPL facility to the Indian importers. And we are underwriting that risk. And that's also a massive use case. Now, China does not directly support stable coins. So that's where, like we have another MAS regulated Singaporean entity, which will help us move the money from India to China, and from India to Singapore, and Singapore to China. So that's how, like we are setting up that rail, and we are pretty excited about it because it's a pure trade finance use case, but with short-term credit. And we already managed to onboard the merchant where there will be like 0% interest rate for the importer, and the merchant will pay us in commissions. So that way, like we cover the cost of capital. So that will be the next big milestone for us. So I think these two itself are huge milestones for us to grow the business. Like right now, like in just last 30 days, we have done $20 million in volume. And this month we are already projecting to do $30 million. And once we open the US, will be doing like over $100 million a month. So that's where, like our focus is. I'll tell you, like, a lot of grinding happened for PMF, because first we were trying to build what is trending, then we were trying to build what the VCs want, then we were like, okay, chuck it, let's just build what the demand is, where we have the customer, and that really works. So we just build what the market wants. Don't build what is trending. Don't build what is the hype, or what the VCs want to listen right now. Like, if you have good numbers, the VCs will come to you. Right now, frankly, like, we are in a position where, like, 4 months ago, we were running door to door to find investment. You know that as well, right? And in today's date, we are cash flow positive. We are even thinking, if we really need to raise, probably we'll raise some debt, but not like a proper VC round. And we came to this position only because we found a good PMF, and that builds a lot of confidence in you as a founder as well. So I think that's the most important learning we have.